Welcome to Honestly Twilight. This is Josephine.
And this is Grind.
Today we're going to be talking about Breaking Dawn, which is the fourth book in the Twilight saga.
And the last.
Presumably. So first we're just going to be giving a summary, and then we're going to go chronologically through it part by part. There are 3 parts. A Bella part, a Jacob part, and then another Bella vampire part.
And as for summary, all you need to know is the last chapter's title. It's chapter 39, and it's called The Happily Ever After. So you don't have to read this book, because the content just told you it's gonna be a happily ever after. Don't you worry. Look, there's a content list. What the fuck? Why did you put it in here? I mean, we could just have had it like normal chapters with no content. No, okay. So this book, we do it properly. Probably we'll do this properly. So this book is about how Bella is married to Edward. And they go off to an island, and Edward keeps his promise. There it was. He keeps his promise.
Wow.
Let's get it on. And they do that. They have sex, if you didn't get it. And then Bella becomes pregnant. And within 1.5 months, she has a child. And during that time, we are seeing everything through Jacob's eyes. And he breaks off from Sam, who's his alpha. And Jacob becomes his own alpha and gets his own pack from the others. Some of them followed him, we'll talk about that. Then Bella gives birth, the child is killing her, but she's strong-willed, so she thinks she will survive this if they make her a vampire just when the child bursts out of her body. And she does. She becomes a vampire. She's very beautiful, she's strong. They thought she would go into a craze, but she doesn't.
Plot twist!
Yes. They think that's a superpower, that she has a strong will. She meets up with Charlie. They're all dumbfounded. Oh my god, she doesn't eat Charlie. She's not even a year old. Ooh. She fucks Edward. They have a child.
A lot.
Is a bliss. And then the Volturi is like, oh my god, you made an immortal child, which is not okay. It's a law. And then the Volturi comes to kill them all. And the Collins gather a lot of people to bear witness that Renesmee, the child,
Renesmee, I think she's called.
Renesmee?
Renesmee?
Okay, I don't.
There are a lot of ways to say that word, that name.
Nessie, the child, she's growing. And then, like, absolutely everyone except 4 are agreeing to fight against the Volturi. But then Alice comes home and saves the day. And then everybody lives happily ever after.
Presumably.
That's about forever is a really long time.
Yeah.
So, like, in 2,000 years or so, they probably be stoned. Okay, so that's the resume of this book.
That is the resume.
Now you don't have to read it. Read it. Don't.
You're so harsh.
So, what's first on the agenda?
Josephine is very proudly and loudly proclaiming to not like this book.
Did a reread change my opinion? No.
I still think that this is one of my favorites in the series.
No.
Yes. That is my opinion, Josephine. You don't get to take that from me. Respect me. No, I think it's the second half. I just love that she becomes a vampire. I'm happy for Bella that she finally gets what she wants.
She's actually destined to be
Yeah, she's totally destined. But like, you say that like it's a ridiculous thing. I kind of like it. I like that she was just always meant to join them as a vampire.
I respect your opinion.
That's good. We'll obviously clash a few times during this episode. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be honest. But
honestly, Cry, did you actually like this book?
I did.
Okay.
But honestly, Josephine, let's talk about your favorite thing to talk about.
Jacob?
No, Renee.
Oh! So I have still problems with Bella's mom. Obs.
And we're starting with her because the whole thing starts with the wedding, so Renee is obviously there for the wedding.
Renee has flown in 2 days ago before the wedding, but she spent most of her time with Esme doing decorations, and she's have a grand time. I like, fuck off, Renee.
You never see your daughter. You know what? What's so interesting about Renee and your hate for Renee is that I don't like her. I can see that she's not a great mom, but you just really pick these things out because I was not really thinking about that part. I noticed that she was happy on Bella's behalf, and I was like, yeah, okay, that's nice. I didn't like her in the other books, but now that you're reading that aloud, I'm like, okay, my God, that's bad. But I find it so interesting how different perspectives pick out different things. Like, now that you've pointed it out, I'm like, oh, shit, that's bad. But I didn't see it myself.
See, this wedding is happening like 1 or 2 months after the graduation.
Yeah.
So she couldn't come to her own daughter's graduation because of a broken bone in her husband's hip. But she could go there for her wedding. I know there's a difference, but there's a 2-month time span.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck off. So this you can get your fat ass to Forks for? I mean, Bella doesn't even want her there. I mean, she's happy enough. She knows this is maybe her last time with Renee, but as she later notes in the book, is that it's maybe good that she's fallen out with Renee because Renee is soft in her head and she couldn't handle Renesmee. So she's happy she's not going to be with her mom again.
She's at least quite apathetic about not seeing her mom anymore.
Her mom's her best friend, and she doesn't even, like, she's like, yeah, fine, you're here for my wedding, Mom. Yeah, so that's it. The segment of Josephine is hitting on Renee is over. And then she names her daughter after that witch.
But that's a bad name. I think we can all agree on that. Even the characters in the fucking book agree that it's a horrible name.
So they called her another name.
Like, couldn't Edward just have been, we're not going to call her Renesmee, we're going to call her Emily or something, you know? Something normal, Bella. Someone in this family has got to have a normal name.
Why is Edward's parents not important in this, huh?
Don't they make up the middle name?
No. The middle name is made up by Charlie and Carlisle, and it's Carly.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, but Edward has nothing to do with Renesmee anyway. No. Apologies for the sound. Hopefully they're gonna stop soon. Okay, so the wedding is done, and I mean, there's not a lot to say about the wedding except that I feel it's nice that Bella actually appreciates the wedding. You get the sense that she's happy that she's marrying Edward.
Yes, she in the end she's very happy. But like,
so another example of what I call authorial control, which is where Bella has again and again and again had things happening to her where she says she doesn't want them to happen to her, but then they do happen and she's fine with it. So this is another example of that.
Can you explain authorial control?
Yeah, okay. We're gonna have a whole segment on it.
Okay.
But
so we'll get back to that.
But authorial control is when an author
we'll not get back to
it's that. Not actually a term, I just made it up.
You're doing it now.
Authorial control, as I see it, is when an author controls the reader's way of perceiving things by the narrative structure. So, for instance, here we're told that Bella was always wrong to have the feelings that she had, and that in the end Edward was right, and blah, 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 because she's happy about the wedding. But it's sort of a manipulation, because every time Bella turns out to be happy about it, it's like the author kind of manipulated that into happening. And the same thing is happening again and again with sexual and romantic attraction in the story. I think we're just saving authorial control for later.
Stick to the plan.
Stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. Okay. So the whole deal with Edward was that she would marry him and then they would bone.
Yeah, she would have a human experience.
So they go to the island for their honeymoon and they bone it out. And I just want to get into that. So one thing I like is her nervousness before having sex with him. How she's starting to freak out on the bathroom floor. I'm curious, has she even looked into, like, if I was her, I would have prepared.
I don't know.
For this. But she's obviously nervous, and then she has this moment where she's like, but it's Edward. And then it's like she's no longer nervous, and she goes out, and then they do it. So I like that part.
Right?
They bathe a little, and I guess.
We don't know. His arms wrapped around me, holding me against him summer and winter. It felt like every nerve ending in my body was a live wire. Forever, he agreed, and then pulled us gently into deeper water. Double enter. The sun hot on the bare skin of my back woke me in the morning. Late morning, maybe afternoon. I wasn't sure.
And at this point, you have waited this, and the beginning of this for the sex scene. And
78 pages we waited of Breaking Dawn.
And then it just skips it.
This book is literally breaking Gry.
That's actually true. My name in English is Dawn, would be translated to Dawn. So it's breaking Gry.
I waited all this time for that joke. I waited so long for it.
Congratulations.
I did it. So what do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about the fact that Stephanie and I
like
too chicken shit to write a proper sex scene. I'm not saying that this was supposed to be erotica, but like something, please.
There are no descriptions of sex in this book. You can let your 12-year-old read it. It would be appropriate, actually.
Yeah.
There's not even the word vagina or penis in it, so don't you worry.
Yeah, it's really sterile. So they have their first time.
Mm-hmm. Is it good? Did they like it?
Yeah, it was perfect.
Exactly. It was perfect. Except for like afterwards, Edward is seeing a lot of bruises on her body, but Bella isn't noticing because the sex was amazing.
And also he killed a pillow, so I'm traumatized.
You are?
Yes, the pillow. I mean, that was my favorite character in the entire book.
Yeah.
And he's very, very upset that he hurt her and refuses to listen to her say that she's okay.
I think that this is just a really long rant for people getting married and then sex is good. And y'all, sex is also work. It's not like every two bodies just fit together and then orgasms happen all the time. Exactly! And I feel like this is how it is. I mean,
this is YA. Mm-hmm. One thing that is very relevant in YA is the first time, because it generally happens to young people. But it's the genre where you're not supposed to show things very sexually. And the first time, or awkward sex, no matter when you have it, you can have had sex many years and then have sex and it's awkward. But awkward sex requires the writer to go much more into depth with what happens, to describe how it's awkward and how it's handled, and the what goes where, and stuff like that. So that's very descriptive. That can't go in a YA. So you have this problem of the first time, there's typically, even if it's not awkward or if it's still a nice time, typically just something unexpected is probably going to happen, or someone's nervous and stuff, and you just can't really go into it in YA because you're not really allowed to describe it. So what do? Instead of saying, well, it was awkward but they got over it, you make it perfect. It's easier.
That's true. I would like full disclosure to say that in Denmark the rules about sex are quite different than they are in the US.
Yeah, we have YA that definitely that goes into,
and they have a lot of sex,
and it's great because it's realistic.
Yes, we like really tough, mean, realistic YA literature. So that's quite different. So I know while we are deciphering this sex thing, we might not be as objective as we should be, because we haven't been brought up to think it's wrong to have sex in books for basically children.
Or to have sex before marriage.
Or to have sex before marriage either. None of us.
No.
I assume.
No.
And think about how wrong it would have been if they got a child out of wedlock.
Ooh. His sperm is so active. Like, because we basically hear that every time a vampire has sex with a human, it's like she's impregnated. Insta-pregnant.
Every time. They're just like, it's not a living thing, so maybe they're just waiting in the vagina.
Yeah, for the right egg. Yeah. Explosive pregnancy.
I don't like how the sex is perceived. I made a whole rant when I read this because I was so angry. So I will put that up on Instagram, I promise. But I think it's a false picture of how intimacy and sex is. Because as you said, the build-up was really good. The build-up with Bella being nervous and she has
and Edward being nervous as well.
Yeah,
he just doesn't show.
He just goes out.
Yeah.
He can't be in
there.
Yeah,
he's like, I'll wait for you.
And it's so awkward the first time asking for sex. Do you wanna? Can we? Because it's one thing to be like on the couch or in the bed together, because then you can actually do it with your body. But then it's another thing anticipating it, right? We have to do it tonight.
It's our wedding night.
Oh my god! And we travel all the way to this island, and there's beds in here, and Alice packed lingerie, and I'm wearing a matching set of bras and panties. Does he even like my body? At this time, none of these two have seen each other naked. So there's that too. And everything is just too pure.
The most frustrating thing is that this is in the last episode we talked about those things that are big discussion points in romantic relationships, and sex is one of them.
Yes.
But the thing about those 5 topics is that they're difficult. They can break your relationship, but they can also make you stronger.
Yeah.
If you come out on the other side of those triumphant, your relationship is stronger. So this is actually a prime opportunity for them to become stronger. They could discuss this and become stronger. But again, when the sex goes wrong because Edward feels that he hurt her, that's legitimate worry for him. Like he's a little traumatized that he hurt her and that he bruised her up. He doesn't like that. I mean, let's all just agree that it's a sympathetic trait for a man to not like to bruise his girlfriend.
Yeah, especially since they hadn't talked about it, because maybe she was into being whipped or brushed a little. I mean, that's okay.
It seems kind of like it though.
Yeah, but they don't talk about it, so
Yeah.
I get why he's uncomfortable with it.
And so there's this prime opportunity for actually discussing things, but instead of discussing things, the way they handle it and end up having sex again is because Bella is sad and
Bella takes notes off of Jacob. So she's like, if you want something I had, Edward, and that is me for staying human, you'd have to fuck me a lot of times before that. And he wants that so much that he agrees to it.
Yeah. That's actually really, yeah. And what also happens is that she wakes up crying because she had a sex dream, and she's really sad. It's not true. And then she starts crying, and then sex commences. So they don't even have sex again because she convinces him it's the right, like that she helps him get over it, and they discuss it. It just happens. They just kind of stumble into the solution, and that's what sucks, that they don't get to have that character development.
And so after they have had sex, he says, you're probably really hungry, and she agrees, and she says, where did the eggs come from? I asked the cleaning crew to stock the kitchen at first for this place. I'll have to ask them to deal with the feathers from the murdered pillow. He trailed off, his gaze fixed on a space above my head. I didn't respond, trying to avoid saying anything that would upset him again. And this sounds like a really healthy marriage.
And the whole thing is, Edward, when Bella says, yeah, I'm bruised, but it doesn't hurt that much, and I wasn't hurt, and I don't mind it, he doesn't trust her to tell him the truth because she never fucking tells him when she's not okay. If she was okay with hurting his feelings because she needed to say something in their relationship, then he would know that she would not spare his feelings. These two spare each other's feelings too much.
Yeah, and it makes up for a lot of misunderstandings.
Yeah.
Instead of co-living.
I just wish that it had become something that was actually dealt with.
Sex doesn't solve your problems, y'all.
Yeah, and sparing someone else's emotions on your own expense is not good, and it doesn't help the one you're sparing. It doesn't help your relationship. So what I wish was that they got to a point where they were like, this is dumb, let's not do this,
and then they end up having sex again. And then he says Sex was the key all along. He rolled his eyes. Why didn't I think of that? He muttered sarcastically. I could have saved myself a lot of arguments. I laughed. Yeah, probably. You're so human, he said again. And I think a lot of what Edward does is making Bella feeling ashamed of her wanting to have sex at all. Like, he doesn't get that she likes it, so he plays down her feelings and puts up his own.
Her desire to have sex.
Yes, yeah. And since they don't talk about it, he just feels his own shame about hurting her, and she feels rejected by him not wanting to do it more.
It's the sad thing. She wakes up and she's so blissful because they did it and it was great, and then he's just ruining her bliss.
But also another thing, when you have sex, go out and pee. Because women, you get a UTI by not doing it. Bella, you stupid fuck.
But she didn't Google anything.
Vampires are not sterile because they're made of marbles.
I think we're gonna write this up to another Renee is a bad mother. Doesn't she actually go to the bathroom to check herself out? I think
not after, because she falls asleep. That's what we're told. They have sex and then she wakes up.
That's true.
So
but I think
he would have noticed right
this
away.
Goes into the next thing we're going to talk about, which is practical shit. Because it is shit. Because the shit is never mentioned in Twilight. It's never mentioned that she goes to the bathroom. It's never mentioned that she has her period or that she has to use contraception or tampons. And you might be wondering, well, I don't want to know that my characters are going to the bathroom. No, but you might want to know it if all of the vampires in the house she's in can hear her if she's going to the bathroom, or if she's with a lot of vampires who are trying not to kill her, and one of her new brothers will try to kill her from a paper cut, but she bleeds every month.
Yeah. I would like to say that the blood coming from menstruating is not blood, right?
I don't know. It's still blood.
You're a science guy.
It's still blood.
I mean, it doesn't.
It's messed up with a lot of protein goo.
Okay.
But
it's blood with protein goo. That's true.
Yeah. So
maybe
I would.
She's got really good with like a diva cup, though it wasn't at the time.
Yeah.
That would be a solving. Yeah,
it's just the fact that it's not mentioned. Fair enough if it is so mixed up with protein goo that Jasper's like, no, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm gonna pass. But like, then tell us, because they have to handle her period somehow.
But since we are glazing over everything difficult, this would never be put into Twilight.
Yeah. But Grim dark Twilight. Grim dark Twilight.
Yes. If you ever think about writing fantasy or anything like that, it's actually fun to have in it because it's so normal. We all go to the toilet, and most of us
a lot of women get constipated because they don't want to take a dump when their boyfriend is nearby.
True.
So,
and we pass on little tips like insulating. You say like that, you know.
I'm not just putting stuff down the toilet.
You have to almost make a tapestry down the toilet of toilet paper, so no plop, no peeing sound is made while a woman goes to the toilet, right? We pass on information to each other like that. Yeah.
It's awful.
I don't know if men do that.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. Do you? Any men watching this? Who are you? Hello, brother.
Yes, but that's how we actually, or how Bella finds out she's pregnant, is because Alice put Tampax in her bag, and Bella hasn't got her period.
And that's the first time that her period is ever mentioned, and that is a hilarious scene. I just want to point out Edward realizing that she's pregnant, and he's just like, but he's just standing still. It's hilarious to me.
And he hates the thing right away, and Bella loves it because it nudges her.
It's I mean, the whole thing about Bella loving Renesmee, you could have gone either way. I did not like Renesmee originally. I talked about this in the first video because I thought it was fucking creepy. It was a parasite. I would not love it. But I get that I mean, she's a woman who's pregnant, and she's imagining the child, and that she says, I never imagined having children. It was never a thing I really wanted, but now I want this child.
Oh no, that shit. Okay, that was a good comment because that's just shit reasoning. She says, I have it right here because I wanted to talk about it. Maybe I just had a really bad imagination. Maybe that was why I'd been unable to imagine that I would like being married until after I already was. Unable to see that I would want a baby until after one was already coming. And hold on, they've been married for like a total of 14
She doesn't
days.
know what it's like to be married yet.
14 days, honey. She's not even lived with Edward. She doesn't... Their only problems are fixed by people being murdered.
And her becoming a vampire.
Yes. It's something we say to children when they don't want to eat their food. You don't know if you like broccoli before you've tried it.
But some things, when you try them, they're there.
So we're talking about getting pregnant. You don't say that about getting pregnant. You don't know if you like being pregnant.
Well, some people do, unfortunately.
I mean, I didn't like it. I like the kid. I feel like Bella's pregnancy was how horrible it was. I felt that.
Yeah.
But I get why she's been unable to want a baby because she thought she never could have that.
Yeah, there
She
was no point in
fine with
thinking
it.
about it.
But
I think it's the fact that she's realizing she could have this with Edward, and now that that's a possibility, she wants it.
Yeah.
But you're right. There's something not right about.
It's so much playing house. I've said it also in the first episode. It's so much playing house that the author wants Bella to have everything.
Yeah, it's ticking something off, right?
Yeah.
Renesmee is just ticking off. Oh, they also needed to have a baby.
Married, baby, best friend, vampire, family, including Charlie. It's too much.
Yeah, it's too happy.
Okay, I'm done. I can't explain it better. If any one of you think like me, please explain it better. Edward, he does put Jacob up to saying to Bella that if all Bella wants is children, she could do it with Jacob. Which is a dumb-ass request anyway, but...
He's missing the fact that she wants his child.
Yes, exactly. So there's a difference. She's not wanting children. She's wanting a wholesome family with him in some way. I didn't hate the fetus, as they call it in the book. I didn't hate it. I don't particularly hate Renesmee either. I actually don't. I like her, but not. I get it. I would want that too.
Renesmee. I mean, Bella is touted as being a Mary Sue. Renesmee is the ultimate Mary Sue. Everybody loves her.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Everybody just loves her. It's
right away.
It's annoying.
Yeah, but she's also a kid, and I mean, every time I show a baby around.
Yeah. Okay, that's right.
So
that's
cute.
right. But still.
But I got it. I've always known I wanted children. So for me, this was the fantasy being the whole fantasy, not only just getting the love and the immortal life, but also having to have a family. In that sense, because you can of course have a family in other ways, but have a family with kids. So yeah, I liked it. But I get from your perspective why the abortion should be a possibility. You are on Edward's side.
I mean, I like that Edward is actually like
hating it.
Yeah, he doesn't want to lose Bella, and I think it
not for a child he doesn't even know.
Yeah, exactly. But the moment he knows it, it becomes this crooked thing, because it would have been really interesting if Bella had died and he was left with their child. Imagine that situation. Him and Jacob just hanging out.